much. Anyway.
There was a moment there that passed where they were both on their phones and I was not on my phone. I just want you to take note of that.
Yeah, here's the difference
Important
between me and
business
you,
matters.
though. You're on Instagram just scrolling. I'm answering messages. Okay, Rez?
Making business.
I was. Remember this guy? Andrew Skeezes?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Nice guy.
NCR program stuff.
No, not really.
I think did he ditch his affiliation?
No, I think he just opened up a second location in Oakville.
Oh, wow.
We were just chatting about that.
So we're here on the NCR podcast.
I'm going to get a La Croix.
Good idea.
I just want to put out there that I brought this La Croix from home. I didn't take it from the stash, just so we're aware. It's cran raspberry. We don't
Coconut
have
flavor.
cran raspberry here.
Pete, don't worry. No one's going to take your coconut.
No, that coconut is
You
You
don't
want no
disgusting.
one to touch your La Croix, you buy coconut La Croix.
Yeah,
Take
that
it, I'll
one's
take it
absolutely
all, man.
nasty, man.
But yeah, I went to grab one yesterday and it was fully frozen. Did that happen?
My food was frozen in the fridge today.
Turned up a little bit.
Did someone mess with the thing?
No, speaking.
I'm laughing because every time you speak, you
into
just gotta
the
put the mic in your mouth.
I'm gonna hit him in the teeth in one of them.
No, it's
Just
been getting
reaching
colder
over.
by the day. You're right.
The fridge?
You know what
Maybe it's in the
Yeah,
power.
Yeah,
yeah,
it's
been-
it's getting colder.
Yeah, all my vegetables were solid. Were rock solid like a couple weeks ago.
That's why that bell pepper had such a crunch to it.
No, that was the downstairs fridge.
Oh.
Yeah.
I see.
Look how Riz is sleeping right now.
Sleeping like a human.
Okay.
NCR podcast. Instagram. What's up?
What's the topic of conversation?
Well, let's start with talking
What
about.
were you and PT talking about the other day?
Yeah. You want to talk about that?
What were we talking about? Yeah, I guess we could. Yeah.
You can go into that a little bit.
Ask me some questions and I'll answer them.
Where
What's gonna be the title of this podcast?
I haven't
Because
thought-
we just sat down and decided to shoot the shit.
Yeah, it's going to be about the game changes because I think we're going to talk
Yeah.
It's gonna be
a good
called-
amount about that, and that'll give us some good clicks. I'll be honest. You were talking the other day about where you lie in this new equation.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of what you think is not only your strategy going forward, but like you just came. Well, let's give a little context. Where did you just come back from?
I just came back from Tennessee. I'm just tagging La Croix water in this just to make sure that.
If there's any way.
There's an opportunity for sponsorship.
I mean, we see
No
that's the problem
chance.
is we're basically giving them free product placement right now.
And from 3 different flavors.
I know.
Okay.
CrossFit does that too, don't they? Like in their podcast, they're all
Yeah,
there's
but they're
La Croix
sponsored by
everywhere.
Zevia.
Are they actually?
Yeah.
Oh, I
Yeah.
feel like they don't have La Croix anymore. Then anyway,
Yeah.
I
I was just in Tennessee. I was at the Power Monkey Camp in Crossville. It's actually called Crossville, Tennessee.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, where the I was like,
Yeah.
pretty sure it's Cookville, but
Yeah, no,
Where the
like
camp
40
is.
minutes from Cookville. And I was there.
Wait, is it actually called that?
Yeah, Crossville.
I thought you were just making a joke.
Yeah, me
'cause
too.
All the CrossFitters
CrossFit.
go there.
No. It's
That's
like
hilarious.
a town about 40 minutes from Cookville. And over there, apparently, you're supposed to say Cookville.
Huh?
Cookville.
Cookville.
It's not Cookville.
Okay.
It's Cookville.
Okay.
And sometimes you can just completely disregard the K and just say Cookville.
Interesting.
Yeah. So that's how the locals call it.
So weird.
Cookville.
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 What were you there for?
I was there for the Power Monkey Camp. It's like a training camp for it's basically like a summer camp for adults, but
Mhm.
all CrossFit. It's put on by David Durante, who's like one of the best coaching or gymnastics coaches in the world of CrossFit, and he's been in the Olympics for gymnastics. I'm not exactly sure when, but him and Chad Vaughn started this.
Mhm.
Chad Vaughn's a weightlifter. They started this about 6 or 7 years ago, and this was the 10th camp. And
It's only the 10th?
yeah, they do 2 a year.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
I guess so, yeah.
and it's pretty cool
You gotta
because
tap me.
they just they put together. It's basically a full week of coaching sessions. And it's like a gymnastics camp with cabins, and it's on a lake, so people are just like kind of hanging out. And they have a schedule. They're put in a group like on day one, and they have a schedule that they follow all week long. And you're eating Rosie Joe, which is like a CrossFit caterer, all week long, which is pretty cool too. And second drawer, I think. And so I was there as part of the aerobic capacity station.
Mm-hmm. Chris
So,
Hinshaw.
Yeah, with Chris Hinshaw and Facundo Echecolats.
Why?
How did that come about?
I just
Yeah, explain how you get chosen for the
Aerobic capacity
Yeah,
seminar. I
which
think
is-
that's the question everyone wants.
yeah,
to know.
which is really interesting. I know, but I met them. I've known Hinshaw for years now, but we chatted and hung out a little bit at the games this year. For some reason, Facundo, the guy who runs it with Chris, he also works for CrossFit Media, so we got to hang out at the games quite a bit. And then I was actually, I think, their second choice. They wanted Dan Bailey to help them out with the station, but he went in for surgery a couple weeks ago, so he wasn't available. So they called me up and they asked me to go and help.
Right. It was you, Horvath, and then the two people.
Yeah, Horvath just happened to be in Cookeville hanging out with Hinshaw and training there.
Right.
So she decided to like kind of roll with us and helped us out with those stations.
Mm-hmm.
But part of the aerobic capacity seminar is also some anaerobic training. So I was kind of the anaerobic expert on hand, talking about sprints and maximal output type shit.
Right. That's relevant.
Yeah.
Maxes.
Yeah, works for me.
Maxes.
No, but it was cool, and the sessions were all like 2 hours long. And in the sessions that we ran, we would like get athletes to do little workouts on the assault runner, little individual workouts like pacing and different time domains and stuff like that, and then we put it all together to like pretty much build like an aerobic workout with some sprinting and some recovery pacing.
Right.
Yeah, and then we kind of applied those concepts to just a normal CrossFit workout.
Right.
With other movements, other than just running.
Right.
Yeah. And one of the days we went to Mayhem. Like we took the entire camp to CrossFit Mayhem. There's about 75 people, and we ran all of them through 3 workouts. So 3 stations, 45 minutes each. So yeah, that's where I was all week. And then I worked a level 2 at Cookeville.
Right. So when you came back, from that, what was your thought process, especially with all these changes? Let's talk about that because that's kind of where we want to bring it to.
I don't know. Every time I go and I go on a trip and I hang out with some really, really fit people, sometimes it's like not demoralizing, but it just opens your eyes to what's out there, whether it's motivating or not. It just, when you're inside your gym all year long and you think you're making progress and you're fit and blah, 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 like you step out of your gym and you train with other people and you're like, holy shit. Right. I did a couple workouts with Alex Smith, and who's, great athlete, but I mean, no one's going to put Alex Smith in their conversation to win a sanction event, right?
Right.
Or even come close, but he's a phenomenal athlete and he's in wicked shape. So it just things like that, right? It puts shit in perspective. I train with Horvath all week long, and I mean that's a girl, so that's different because we don't compete against them. But I mean, level of fitness that girl has is out of control.
Right.
And training with Rich, and then Austin came down. Like it's just fun to see. Fun to see like, how fit people actually are.
And do you think these new, I guess, kind of where we're going is, do you think these new changes that we're seeing, qualification for the games, is making it harder for people who might not be at that apex to be relevant or to have like?
In our countries, yes.
You think so?
Yeah.
In
That's
our
kind of what
countries,
most
as in-
people are saying down there too. It's like if you're American,
Yeah,
good luck.
you're done.
Good luck.
Yeah, for Americans, it's like so hard.
You're not
them to qualify
freestyling. Like,
for the
take your
game.
hand off of it.
Sorry, it's been so long since I've talked into a mic. I'm just gonna. I forget how to hold it.
Trying to beatbox or something?
But yeah, for Americans, it's impossible for them to go to the games. Like, look at the top 20 men in the CrossFit Games. How many of them are American? They basically have to come top 20 in the Open this year, which is good for them. But after this year, they have to win the Open or a sanctional event, which is like, I just don't think it's going to happen for a lot of big names.
Totally agree. And you think that problem's isolated to North America, and why? North America, why?
All the best CrossFitters are in North America.
Yeah.
Really?
Stats are there, yeah.
I think the women, it's like the exact opposite.
The women is the opposite.
But for the men.
Yeah, but
the
you
women,
look at the
well,
games when they paraded everyone through the games from all the different countries.
Yeah.
It's like
Well, there was a lot of Americans, but I think that's
Yeah.
because 99% of the age groups are American.
yeah.
I think the
And
games.
teams. And all the teams, right? Like,
Yeah.
that's a lot of people.
Yeah.
right.
I think it's a little more diversified. I mean, you could take a look at the leaderboard and just go down the list, but it is definitely more diversified in with the women.
Mhm.
I think there's only 2 American women in the top 10.
Mhm.
But I mean, that's still North America. Canada actually didn't do that well for the women. But what I was gonna say is the top 10 men this year
Mhm.
was still, I think, just 5 Americans and 5 Americans and 5 international athletes.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go over what we just learned today.
But that's the top 10. Sorry, that's not the top 20. The rest, obviously, there's more Americans.
Mhm.
But just making to the games for an American or a Canadian is just that much harder.
Do you think what came out today is going to change any of that? So, like, let's go over that real quick. It's now, and you guys add in, because I don't know all the facts to this, but from what I remember, it's now if you win a sanctioned event, you get a spot to the games, but you have to compete in the open and place well, or else your rank going into the CrossFit Games is severely hindered, and out of the 50 elimination qualification heats at the games, then you're placed in one of the first heats, basically. So, like, if you win a sanctioned event, don't do the open or don't do well in it, then you have to go at the very beginning of the qualification elimination competitions at the beginning of the CrossFit Games, where they're going to cut the field from 200 to 10, I think they said.
Yeah.
Right? 10 people that are actually going to compete at the real CrossFit Games,
Yeah.
not just the elimination. So that's number one. You can't, I think, and it goes the other way, too. If you just win the open in your country, but you don't go to a sanctioned event in place, then you're still going to be qualifying super, super low, and you're still going to have to go on one of those very first heats.
Only if you suck. Only if you're lower in the open, though.
I think he said it's just like a general overall pretty much point system. Because they said the more sanctioned competitions you go to, the better your overall ranking going into the games qualify or the games elimination is going to be.
Yeah, but it's based on how well you do at those sanctioned events. The open determines where your seed is going into the games if you qualify for the games.
Yeah.
And the more and then it works with the sanctioned events in the sense that if you qualify for the games through the open, you can use sanctioned events to up your qualifying ranking based on how well you do at those events.
So
not just by showing
If you
up.
finish top 20 in the open, though,
I think
You're
that reigns
fine.
supreme.
Yeah,
Like
you're
that's-
fine.
Oh yeah.
I think they just
Yeah. And then the other way though is if you qualify first in a sanctioned event and get your games ticket through that route,
yeah,
You have to
then
do the open.
You should. It's in your best interest to do the open
and do it well.
and do it well
yeah.
because that is going to seed you.
Yeah, I think that's
just winning the sanctioned event seeds you
Low.
last.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's super important. Like, if you want people to do the open, like, I don't think the goal is to. And I've talked to some people where it's just like, possibly if they win a sanctioned event, like, I'll just dog it in the open, or I might not even sign up.
Yeah.
Well, now it's like, well, you can't do that.
I think Bukowski said that he was going to not do the open.
Yeah, no, like now you have to do the open. Yeah.
You don't have to. You don't have to do the open,
No.
but it's in your best interest to do the open.
Yeah, or else
You
you'll
know,
be
it's like-
seeded last.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, all that means is that you're in the first heat at the games.
Yeah, which sucks.
So, but it does. But if you're a really good athlete, like I don't think Matt Fraser would have a problem being in the first heat. As a
I just don't think we're talking about the same thing here. Like, the people who are going to qualify top 20 in the open,
they're not worried.
they're
about
super
anything.
fit. Who we're talking about is the winner of CrossFit Uzbekistan or CrossFit
Yeah.
Turkmenistan,
Yeah,
or like
exactly.
like the athletes who are coming out of countries who have one affiliate and they're winning the open. Like, that's who we're talking
Yeah,
about. Like,
because for those athletes, the quote is, any athlete who qualifies for the games as a national champion, which is that, or with the top 20 placement in the 2019 Open, can improve their seeding and possibly qualify for a buyout of the first qualifying elimination round by winning a sanctioned event regardless of if that sanctioned event occurs before or after the Open.
Well,
So-
that's good for. So does that mean that if someone finishes top 20 in the Open, but
Yep.
also wins a qualifying event, that means now they're taking 21 out of the Open?
Now they're
Are they filling that
Mhm.
back? Yeah.
no,
so-
it doesn't. It just means that
Or the second place from that event.
the second place in that
So
event.
which
I
one
think
is
will
it?
go.
Whichever they get first, or whichever they're at, they qualify
Yeah.
through second.
Because you get your golden
Is the
ticket.
one that they're gonna
What a mess.
backfill.
What a mess.
It's supposed to be a mess.
It's supposed to be, yeah. I think the point is
It's
now is
supposed to
that
be.
the more we can see, you can't just cherry pick. It's kind of the more you do, the better off you're going to be, because
Yeah.
you could win a sanctioned event, get to the games, crap the bed in one of those elimination thingies, and be out and don't even get to compete in the games.
Mhm.
So it's like you want to set yourself up for the most success there by not having 30 heats of people see your time beforehand. So you
Mhm.
want to do as good as you can to get there.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's kind of more.
And that's
close to
assuming that the test is going to stay the same. Like, who knows? The-
Yeah, who
you know,
knows? Absolutely.
The test at the games might be completely different now.
Absolutely.
We just don't know.
Mhm.
But, because, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
If you got to come out top 10,
It's gonna be
Out
different
of
for those
200
people who
people.
get eliminated first.
yeah.
Well, I can't imagine people are going to show up. Like, you win
Why
your
not?
country if you win your country in the Open and it costs you $4,000 to get there because you're from Uzbekistan or whatever, and you are pretty certain that you're not going to come top 10 out of the 200, I
Yeah.
feel like there's going to be a lot of countries that just don't show up, and it'll defeat the purpose of this whole country representation thing.
If you qualify for the Olympics, you go to the
Yeah,
Olympics, even if
exactly.
you come dead
Yeah.
last.
Even
But
if you
this
even
you
if
don't
you
even
do
get it.
one short
Like
qualification,
you go
event
to the
and
Olympics, you
crash.
fall on your first hurdle, you're it's over,
Mhm,
Like
mhm.
people still show up for that.
Mhm.
I don't think that'll be an issue. Like I think if you had the chance to represent your country at the CrossFit Games,
Bye, Rez.
you're going to go. You're going to find every way possible to go and have sponsors paying for it. I don't
Do you think you
that's
can get
an
a
issue.
sponsor for winning a country now? Do you think it's going to open up that possibility,
Yeah.
Yeah.
even for the smaller countries? You
Yeah.
can probably get like a national thing. It might even be better. They might even get like their the government behind them to fund it or something because
Well,
they
That's
want to
exactly
send an
how
athlete.
Olympics work too. Right?
Isn't,
Like there's
is
government
it-
funding
someone
to.
told me that CrossFit was the national sport of Iceland. Is that true? Is that true?
I have no idea. I've never heard that.
No.
I don't
Someone's.
think it
I
is.
swear I've heard that.
That
I
kind
don't
of
know.
wouldn't surprise me just because
Cross-
how good they
It
are at
can't
it.
because
But
it doesn't qualify as a sport. Like it's not a sport yet because
Yeah.
it's still a company. Like is it recognized as a sport with the international sport committee or
Yeah.
whatever?
I don't know. Does it
Mhm.
need to be?
Maybe Iceland just like this is our sport.
Mhm.
It's possible.
So maybe you get another country that's like, this is our national sport, and then they
Yeah.
fund their person to go.
La Roche. Albert just said he responded to my story, and I think the translation is when when you have radio shows and people can call in.
When
he's
you
like
take the
he's
call
like
in.
when are the lines open? I have questions.
Tell him to ask away. He's got you on live. That'd be pretty funny.
Albert, vas-y shoot, c'est quoi ta question? On va la répondre live. Live pour toi. Ligne ouverte, CrossFit Podcast.
Ligne ouverte.
Put it live and just answer questions.
He's in Europe right now.
Where
Anyways.
what? So I think we can all agree that Matt Fraser isn't affected by this, and there's a small pool of athletes who it really isn't going to affect too much in the sense of they're going to win whatever they do. Where does it leave the athletes placed, 20 or placed 11th to 40th at the games? Where do those athletes lie? Because now it sounds like from what they said, only 10 athletes are actually going to compete at the games.
Mm-hmm.
So is it just now it's you just do it for the opportunity to try to, you know what I mean?
Does that make it a better show? I don't know.
Yeah. Because I mean,
there's pros and cons to that. Some people say who cares about the first heat of the games,
mhm.
but very often you'll have people in the first heat, second heat, still do super well and kind of disrupt what's going on at the top.
Yeah. Does that happen
I
more
think
only
there's
at
more of a chance for that to happen now.
Not anymore because
it's only
10
people.
I
There's
think.
only going to be
There's
one
only
heat the
10
whole
peop-
weekend.
Yeah.
There's
That's
only
what they've
10 people
announced.
that
They're
actually
cutting
get
down
to
from
compete at the
200
games.
to-
All they said was there's going to be an elimination.
No.
But they
cut
didn't
to cut
say-
the field down to 10
To
people.
10.
Yeah, but they didn't say how many workouts that elimination would
Yeah,
take
like there
place
might be
over.
3 elimination, but that's the elimination isn't the games. The games comes
exactly.
after the elimination.
Right. So I'm saying that within that elimination round,
Mhm.
because it's an elimination round,
Mhm.
one bad workout if you're a top athlete,
Yeah.
and one good workout by
Mhm.
a lesser
Mhm.
experienced athlete, that gives you the chance to have some serious upsets.
It'll be interesting to see what
Like
they
it's
make.
no longer a test over
The
17
2019
workouts
games will be open with elimination events to qualify 10 competitors for the finals later in the week.
Yeah.
So later in the week and weekend is the actual CrossFit
Yeah.
Games, basically.
With the
now. Like
really
let's
fit
say
people.
like last year what was it? I came like 110th in the world or whatever.
'Kay.
Let's say by some random chance, or let's say hypothetically I qualify from a different country. Okay. Oh, sick.
Rez just
God.
walked in with like
That's-
10 packs of granola bars.
Hypothetically, I go and qualify from a different country,
Mhm.
and the elimination workout is the first workout of the Open last year,
Mhm.
where it came like third in the world.
Mhm.
Then I go, I'm in the top 10 for the games.
Right.
You know, like
Yeah, it's not going to be one workout, obviously.
yeah. So it's
And
all
those
but-
will be like the most important tests of the entire year because it's only 3 workouts to determine the top 10 at the game. So you're right; they're probably going to have
but
to.
I don't think there's no number to it. It could be 3, it could be 1, it could be 10. It does
True,
no one-
true,
like,
true.
there's-
We're totally speculating
there's
on how
just-
many.
I think there's just room for upset just based on
Yeah.
like who has a good and a bad workout, because it's like one workout you can't make it
Mhm.
up in the
And
next
what-
one if you're gone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it'll be interesting to see like what the first workout's going to be because the first workout all 200 people are going to do. So it can't be like a 20-minute like with 7 movement like unless they
Classic
want to take like
CrossFit triplet.
Yeah,
Uh,
well, no, it's got to be more than one, guys. Like, it's not. If there's a way that Matt Frazier doesn't end up in the top 10 and win, then it's not a good test.
basically. Yeah. Kind of agree with that.
If you're able to program him out
Mhm.
of the top 10, then it's not a good test.
Mhm.
Like
Do you
that's
think
it's not a complete test,
Right.
in my opinion. Like there's no chance that they would just come in and say like, okay, there's one endurance event, one strength event, and then one gymnastics. You know what I mean? Like, and then we choose who goes to the CrossFit Games. Like, no,
It'll
You-
be
you
like,
have to basically
it'll be
make
like
it
the
like a
bottom 10 or whatever. They'll just take chunks.
Right.
They'll bite chunks out of the bottom few over the course of a bunch of workouts.
Mhm.
It really bothers me that like the games are going to become something where they need to eliminate people that early on in the games when in theory those people don't even belong there. You know what I mean? Like the test that we're used to was you
Yeah,
find
exact-
the
based
best
on what-
athletes
yeah.
and there's no question of their athleticism when they show up to the games.
Hmm.
Now it's going to be like I feel like for viewers the first day of the CrossFit Games is going to be like, oh, it's cleanup day. We're going to clean up the garbage out of the, and then it's going to come, so it's just, it's sad that it's come to that. I'm not a big fan of that.
Well, and that bridges me really well because my next question was going to be like, is it dying as a spectator sport or as a sport people are going to be interested in? Because like with all those changes happening, with all like the opportunity for screw ups, quote unquote, like Matt Fraser doesn't make it to the top 10, is everyone like, well, this is dumb and we stop watching? Like, what do you think the outcome's going to, or do you think it's going to be the complete opposite and a massive success and this is going to triple and quadruple the current viewership?
I have no idea.
If you wanted to like, if for most sports, if you wanted to go see the best in the world, every 4 years you'd go to the Olympic trials for the USA. You wouldn't go to the Olympics to
Yeah.
watch.
But I mean,
like,
Depends on what sport.
mhm.
but let's just say there's a lot of sports like swimming. There's what's the best swimming country? Like Australia, let's say. There's
Probably
tons of
America.
sports that you could pick. Like, the U.S. has tons of people right at the top for all the sports. Let's just take that country as an example. You could go to the Olympic trials and just see the best in the world for a whole bunch of different sports.
I think
It's just it's kind of like the same idea. Like
But
there's
it-
tons of
but
crappy
like-
athletes that go to the Olympics and everyone goes and watches.
I'm like, if you came up to me and you're like, yo, Rez, I got 2 tickets to the trials, I'd be like, eh. But if you're like, I got 2 tickets to the Olympics,
Yeah.
people are gonna go
That's what I'm saying. That's why people are going to go to the games.
That's his point.
That's my
Oh,
point.
yeah,
You're
yeah,
say-
yeah.
That's my point, man. Is because at the Olympics, there's
Yeah.
tons of countries that put athletes in the Olympics that
Yeah,
aren't that good.
I don't think it's not gonna be a spectator sport. I think it always will be because of what it's been developed as. But it depends on the direction CrossFit takes it, right? Like if you looked at Team Series broadcast week number 1, where they had just like your average Joes who had recovered from type 2 diabetes, I respect those people and I think it's awesome, but as I didn't want to watch that. I didn't find that cool to watch. I feel like they noticed that, and the second week they highlighted Noah and Travis, and then like right away I feel like it was automatically more cool. So it really depends on what CrossFit decides to do with that.
I think just take one step back to Pete's point, like who watches the Olympics, who goes to watch it. I don't think people watch the qualifying heats of the 100 freestyle or 100 race, Like you watch Usain Bolt's heat.
You watch the qualifying if you have someone that you're interested in.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. So
Yeah.
it's like, and what are we trying to do? We're trying to get people interested in CrossFit who have no personal interest in the sport itself.
Right.
Like we're trying to get people.
But I'm saying that the people that are interested, they're not all going to be interested in just Usain Bolt. It's going to be someone from their country. Like, an easier example might be the World Junior Championships of hockey, and it's like Kazakhstan in the qualifying rounds. Like everyone from Kazakhstan is watching that game.
Yeah,
but we don't give a shit.
Yeah, and the point that I'm trying to make is that if you want to make a sport massive, people need to watch it who don't have a personal interest in whoever is going. You know what I mean?
I know
It's
what
like
you mean, yeah.
anyone can watch this, not like, oh, he's from my box or he's from my country. Like, no, everyone can watch this because it's fun to watch, period.
Well, you see that at the games, right? Like the stuff that's on ESPN, it's not like, you don't get regionals on, you get the games, and most of the time it's like those top heats that you see on TV.
Is this live right now? Okay, we just figured something out that's real important.
Groundbreaking.
I think you can apply for a passport
If your grandparents are
If-
national.
if
No,
your
it's your
parents.
parents. Your parents have to
Yeah.
be born
Yeah.
in that country.
So we just figured out that
Yeah.
Reza might have an Iranian passport, or he might
Be able to
be
get one.
eligible for an Iranian passport.
See,
So
I'm gonna be straight up with you guys.
Okay, be straight up.
Let's say for whatever reason I can qualify to the CrossFit Games as an Iranian athlete.
will you do it?
I don't know. Like, honestly,
Dude,
are
come on.
they still gonna do am I gonna go and be one of these dudes that gets kicked out on the first day?
Yeah.
Well,
Then we just party for the rest
Look,
of the time.
you're going through that same process that we've been talking about.
Dude, of course you go.
Yeah, I know. But
So
now
we've-
that I'm in that, now that I'm in those shoes, it's kind of like I don't know if I want to do that.
So
Why?
apparently going to
Don't
the
get any
CrossFit
of the
Games
swag
now
either.
and representing your country is all based on passport. So if you have, it doesn't matter where you live, doesn't matter where you train, doesn't matter where your box is. It's just where you have citizenship. So
Is there a gym? Is there a CrossFit gym in Iran? There has to be-
Yes,
there has
because
to be one.
a couple Iranian guys have slid into my DMs and
Oh,
asked
yeah?
me like questions. Yeah, one guy actually the other day sent me videos about his and he's doing thrusters and he's like, my shoulders hurt at the top.
Oh, that's awesome.
But real talk though, do you think you'd be the fittest in Iran?
Yes, not the fit. Dude, there are some of the strongest people in the world are from Iran.
Of course,
yeah.
weightlifters.
Another guy
Yeah.
named
Okay,
Reza.
can you
Yeah.
do me a favor and actually find out?
Yeah,
Because if you can apply
my
for an
mom said
Iranian
no.
passport,
She's like, I'm sure you don't. Why?
then we can get one. You are both your parents were born in Iran.
Yeah, they were.
Why is your phone mommy?
So, because he calls his mom mommy.
Does he really? It says mommy
So-
in the phone.
In a flip of a
It's weird.
switch, Reza just
Mommy's
became
boy.
the most
Mom.
eligible games athlete at NCR. Your chances of going to the games are now way higher than Pete and mine.
Yeah.
Unless Quebec separates. Then I only have to fight the Quebecers. I don't have to fight Vellner and Fikowski. Although they're pretty freaking fit too. Vigneault,
Yeah, there's
Caron.
some fit ones in there, especially in the open.
Yeah.
Do you think anyone cares if it starts to fizzle out a little bit from CrossFit's perspective? Do you think they really care? Or do you think they're kind of just like handing this off and like, we're done with this, let this thing grow as its own entity, but like CrossFit HQ is going in a different direction? It's obviously going in a different direction, but how much going in a different direction do you
Dude,
think?
they're gonna use they're gonna use the games to their advantage. Like,
Sure.
it's all gonna.
But do you, like, they will when it's there, but do you think they care enough to do anything to stop it from fizzing out if they saw it was going to fizzle out? Or do you think they would just let it fizzle out?
The people running the sanctional events will never let it fizzle out. That's their that's their.
What if people don't
Like-
show up?
Yeah.
You know, what if they have the
So the
sanction event?
sanctional events?
Yeah,
Dude, everyone on the planet is doing the only 2 that are up right now.
yeah. There's
Like,
2 now. He's announced 16. What if one of the 16
think
just
about-
paid $75,000 to be a sanctioned event
Yeah.
and nobody shows up?
Think of all those Europeans.
Mm.
How many
I'm just
people-
saying, like,
Yeah.
it's
And I'm
possible
thinking-
that it fizzles out. Like some
Yeah.
of these events,
Some of
for
the
sure
events,
gonna
yeah,
die.
some
Yeah.
of the events.
Well, I
yeah.
think-
And but the overall, like,
it'll be like it'll be kind of like the affiliate model, like that in that sense, though.
yeah,
Right? It'll just
exactly.
Be
So
a
some will
good
go out of
affiliate.
business and the good
Yeah.
ones will stay. What I'm saying too is, like, the games could fizzle out too.
Mhm.
You know,
Like-
they could go this year and be like, nobody's watching. Who knows?
Yeah.
Maybe.
And
Just
then,
change the rules again.
and then
Exactly. I don't think they will let it die. I think
Yeah.
they'll just
like, do you think they would, like, these competitions that are doing really well come together and form some sort of governing body that CrossFit would then sell the games to, and then they would take it in a completely different direction, and the games would no longer have anything to do with CrossFit HQ. It would be run by the people who run these sanctioned competitions, and CrossFit HQ would just have the name and have a royalty or something
Dude,
like
I think at this point
Weird,
anything's
I don't know.
possible, man.
Yeah.
I just
Um,
like from the amount that it's being farmed out, I feel like they don't really care. And if it came to a point when it was going to fizzle out, and these people are like, "Hey, we're willing to infuse the cash to make it happen,"
Mhm.
like, I don't think it would be CrossFit that would infuse the cash to keep the games alive.
Mhm.
It would be
That
these.
doesn't make much sense though, because the affiliate model is exactly the same, and they care about the affiliates.
Yeah, but that's because they
But
care
when
about the
one
affiliate.
dies, they're not gonna
No, you're right.
send you a check and be like, "Hey, here's your rent for next month."
No,
Like,
exactly.
Yeah,
But
if an
but
affiliate
this is
dies, it
the-
dies.
But yeah, exactly.
but
But I think that's the reason why it's the fastest growing gym chain in the world.
Yeah.
So maybe this is going to it's going to lead to the fastest growing sport in the world.
yeah,
Yeah.
and that's
But, yeah.
I'm not saying it's not going to be. I'm just saying that I think CrossFit's involvement, like, CrossFit cares about the affiliates, kind of thing. Like, they'll put towards that. But I'm saying, does CrossFit HQ no longer really care about the games, and would they be willing to let it grow outside of them if it was still an issue for them? Do you know what I mean?
Here's the answer. Who
Yeah.
knows, man? Like, we
Yeah.
can honestly, like, what
Well,
I
I mean,
think we figured out at this point is, like, anything's possible, and it's whatever Greg Lawson wants to do, he'll do.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah, and all
Yeah,
you know is
for sure.
they care enough to hang on to the games for now, right? Or else they would have given it away with everything else already. Like, everything's so crazy right now. They would just like, why wouldn't they? have just
What's their
given it away?
involvement in, realistically though? What is their involvement in the games right now?
Putting it on.
CrossFit?
Yeah, but like, do you think they're gonna be? So the media, that's a huge part of the games. They've outsourced that, correct?
Mhm.
Like, the games media is outsourced. That's a huge part of it. What's, like, the organization? I think probably, like, Rogue takes a big hand in that. That's a separate company that it's not like CrossFit's building all the structures. They're paying someone to do it. They probably are going to pay someone to, like, outside of the company maybe to help, you know, like, how much of it are they just, like, involved in now?
The CrossFit Games, since it's become popular, it's for two things. It's for Reebok to sell shoes and CrossFit to sell seminars and affiliates.
Mhm.
I mean, that's their involvement.
Mhm.
That's the involvement there. CrossFit wants to have more affiliates. We want more people doing CrossFit, so it's basically one giant marketing tool. And I think, you know, Glassman explained it pretty well. It's like, it's a giant marketing tool that
Mhm.
just wasn't working for him.
So from their perspective, they see it as that, and so they're willing to let, like, you would let a marketing company come in and do your marketing.
Yeah.
They're willing to let other people come in and run the game, sort of thing, probably.
Basically, yeah.
It was just,
Save
yeah.
money
Just look at
somewhere.
it like they're still managing the whole thing. Think of it like a general contractor. Like, you're going to go out and you're going to get all the people to do the small jobs, but you
Sure.
still oversee the whole operation.
Mhm.
If you're only doing it once a year, like, you don't need to hire people in permanent positions
Mm.
for the entire year just for one event.
I feel like it's a lot of work, though. I feel like they would still need to devote a lot of time and attention, even though they're not doing the media, even though they're not doing the regionals. even just putting on the games. And I feel like they don't want to have to put all that work towards that because they want to put it towards health and affiliates and not towards the games.
I think regionals took a lot of effort.
A lot of manpower, a lot
Tons
of effort.
manpower,
Yeah,
man.
for
So
sure.
just the fact that that's gone
It might take a lot.
frees up
Yeah.
a lot of resources.
When you think about it, like that model itself is not that bad of an idea. Like it's actually
Yeah.
a pretty good idea,
Mm.
you know. And like the whole super team thing, I think it's a fantastic idea.
Mhm.
Should have done that a long time ago. Now
Mhm.
people are actually going to watch the teams.
Yeah,
When
sure.
did people start
Mhm.
watching teams? When Rich went team.
Yeah, seriously.
And then what happened when Rich went team?
Other super teams started popping up.
Other people started moving together, and so that move is great. That's genius. Should have been done a long time ago. But it's like it's a little ironic because it's like to the opposite of the affiliates.
Mm.
It's like we're not promoting affiliates anymore with super teams because they don't represent affiliates.
Right.
They represent themselves now. So it's like, you know, we're doing all of this for the affiliates, but we're going to take this away from the affiliate,
Mm.
your ability to actually get represented at the games,
Mm.
you know, and now you can make super teams.
Yeah,
you,
unless
you know what I mean by
yeah,
that?
unless
Yeah.
you want to, unless you're like Mayhem and you have the resources to pay people potentially to come down, be on your team, and
Yeah.
then represent you, and then you do it as like, you know, a product placement branding thing at
Yeah.
that point. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Whereas like there'll be teams this year like Team Paleoethics and Team whatever.
I don't know
you
what the
I mean?
rules are on
Probably.
that to like call a team. I think you can call them whatever you want.
Probably now.
Yeah.
I don't care.
But yeah, like the
Mm.
sanctionals, that's a good idea.
Mm-hmm.
It's when we get into the whole like there's gonna be 200 athletes there.
Yeah.
If you win your country in the open, that's where I find it just like changes things a little bit.
Yeah, like I'm thinking a little bit long play because like I feel like this year everyone's gonna be really excited. Like you said, everyone's doing Dubai, everyone's doing Waza qualifiers. People are super excited, but in 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, that fizzle out. That's where I see something like the top sanctionals coming together to a governing body to take over the games, and CrossFit just being like, okay, you have our name and that's it.
Yeah, and,
Then-
s-
then
and
if it-
start a players union.
Yeah,
That's got to start. That's
Mhm.
going to start in the next couple of years. 100%, we're
Mhm.
going to see that
and I
because
would,
it's going to have to protect the athletes to be like, well, some athletes are going to be like, I don't want to go and try and do 12 competitions a year.
Yeah.
That's how many days a year am I competing? That's 12
Yep.
times 3. So I'm at 36 days of competing. That's
Yep.
not even travel time.
Yep.
Add in travel time. So you mean I need to travel 90 days out of the year
Mhm.
to compete and try to qualify for the games? Like someone's got to get paid for that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, it's like it's especially if the independent like competitions became a governing body and took over the sport of CrossFit,
Mhm.
then that would be like starting the NBA. It's like you still can go play basketball at the Olympics. So who knows? Maybe once every 4 years, CrossFit HQ will put on something. But like maybe we transition completely into an autonomous third-party business sport where it's like, you know, these companies take it over.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Could happen.
Yeah, it could. And it would be a much more legitimate sport at that point, just in the sense of, yeah, there'd be players' unions, there'd be contracts, there'd be teams, there'd be sponsors.
I was
Things
thinking
of that
about that
nature.
this morning. I was like, it'd be sick to throw on Jay and Dan, see some CrossFitters,
Yeah, right?
some CrossFit highlights.
Sports Center.
Yeah.
Whatapalooza,
Yeah.
and I'm just picturing Dan, Jay,
Jay and Dan O'Toole.
yeah,
Just like chirping.
yeah, and at the Whatapalooza qualifying.
Just a quick update.
And out of
Look
Iran.
at this
runs
jabroni
the
in the
match
crowd, smoking
Nice
a
dirt,
dart.
Just a little update on my status. The Iranian embassy in Ottawa has closed down permanently, so
Oh, gee.
so I don't know.
You wouldn't get let in to go to the CrossFit Games anyways.
I don't know what that means for me. No, I think I would because I'm a Canadian citizen. I just
Doesn't matter.
possess an an Iranian passport.
That makes you an Iranian citizen too, no?
Yes.
Can we delete this podcast?
You just gave away all your secrets. What does it look like for right now? Let's bring it back to just like the athletes, like you guys. Like what are you guys doing?
I don't know. I was asking myself that as I was doing a workout yesterday. Like, what the hell am I doing? Honestly. I'm not kidding.
Talk about that. Talk about that.
Questioning life.
No, and I just, my answer was simple. It was like, I want to get better regardless. Like, I just
Mhm.
want to be better.
Mhm.
And like, even if it's, for me, even if it's team, if it's team, there's still like major holes that I need to address. That's why I'm training.
Sure.
But like, in terms of actually qualifying for the games, oof.
Is there enough appeal for you to be at, because at your level, like both your level, like you can definitely qualify for a lot of the sanctioned events. Is there enough value in for you guys going just to compete for fun, quote unquote, at the sanctioned events? Like you went to regionals, like you were trying to go to the games, and you'd be going to the sanctionals to go to the games. But is there enough fun in it that if you didn't get a ticket to the games, would you still train as hard as you are, dedicate so much of your life to it, to just go and like maybe go to the games at these sanctioned events?
Yeah.
You think there's enough appeal in there?
Yeah, and the bigger these events get, then the more that it's going to be, that's going to be the attitude.
Right.
I think it's the exposure too that athletes like us can get.
100%.
And like you gotta love competing. Like I obviously love competing, so it's like, you know, going to these events even though I know I'm not gonna win Dubai.
So your motivation shouldn't die. It just might be changing a little bit.
Yeah. But it's just when you say like you gotta go and win something to go to the CrossFit game versus you gotta go and finish top 5, like that right there is a huge difference, right? And it's a huge mental barrier. It's
right, because you're talking about regionals. It used to be, it was top 5.
Exactly. I'm talking about regionals, and like Savon used to ask that question all the time to everyone in behind the scenes. Like, do you think you can win the CrossFit Games? Yeah, and everyone was like, yes. And I remember one time I answered it. I'm like, yes, I can. And I thought about it, like, why am I not being honest? Like, I don't think I can. Yeah. Right now, I can't win the CrossFit Games. I'm not fitter than Matt Fraser or Vellner. You know what I mean? So it's like being realistic and like, am I going to go to this sanctioned event and think that I'm going to win? Probably not. But can I go and like win an event maybe, get some airtime and keep my sponsors happy? Yeah. That's what I can do.
Yeah, absolutely. And and if that is enough for like, it's just, I think it might just be a mind shift. You know what I mean? Because like if you were going to training all year and going to regionals for the sole purpose of coming top 5 and now that's no longer an option, I guess my question is do you get equally as stoked to go to these sanctioned competitions? And is it worth the travel
money,
and
the travel?
Yeah.
Of course. Like, okay, so this year is the last year that the Open's in February. So it's just the same routine every year. Right. So I'm going to focus on just doing the Open with the same schedule I always do. And I'm going to put everything into the Open. After that, it's just like you can look at the whole year and you can just make up your own schedule. Right. You can just say, hey, I really want to do these couple events. Okay, let's try and peak for this and this. You know, I've only got maybe I do have sponsors, maybe I don't. So I've only got this much money. I'm going to go to these events and spend it there. And I'm going to just try and crush it and like have fun, you know? So those become regionals. Like I've never even been to the games. I just go to regionals. Regionals are, you know, and so Wadapalooza, let's use that as an example. That's a worldwide event. You go to Wadapalooza and compete, you're competing against way more athletes. Right. It's huge. Yeah. It's huge.
So this different level of athlete, because you guys were different in the sense of you go to regionals and this year you came 10th and 11th. Like you guys are in the top percentage of those athletes. So you have the ability to qualify for the games. Are the athletes who are just trying to get to regionals and were maybe like cracking the top 100 and like really like, are they done? Because those athletes, they're not going to qualify.
I think just the same thing. They're going to choose one of these events.
But do you think they have any chance of qualifying for one of these? Because I feel like you have to be close to the top 10 at your regional to qualify for one of these, based off how competitive they're going to get.
Yeah. I think that's it though. It is based off of how competitive they're going to get. Yeah. Who knows? I think also though, I was talking to someone yesterday. All the local comps are going to be, you know, someone who's
they might shift to there
and has a realistic view on themselves as an athlete, and they just still like to compete. Like they're gonna go out to these local comps. Like there's still a couple $1,000 to win if you get first place in some of these local competitions. You know, people aren't gonna turn away the fun and the money.
Well, it's like you still have, just because you can't go play in the NHL, you can play Junior A or Junior B, and those people who play in each of those leagues, it's just different, and they understand the difference between them. So it's like NHL is the games, Junior A is the sanctionals, and Junior B is the local comps.
I wonder. NCR Classic, win a couple $100. Go to the Beach Wad, win a couple grand.
Yeah. Where does the ODR stand on that list?
I don't know, man. I'm with you on that one.
How many people do you think we'll get more people registered for the Open or less people registered for the Open this year?
This year, I think less.
I think more, because I think you're going to get more people thinking that they're fittest in their country.
Can I say something? I disagree, because I think the Open's going to be way harder than it's ever been. I don't think it should be inclusive if they're doing what they claim to be doing. It should be non-inclusive. It should be like it should look more like what regionals looks like, right?
Yeah.
So I think as soon as like event number, like it happens to every affiliate where like no one signs up for the open, they announce the first event and everyone's like, I could do that, and they all sign up. Like,
Yeah.
I think this year it's going to be like, shit, I can't do that.
Mhm.
I'm not doing the open this year,
Maybe.
Like you have to be able to do muscle ups, maybe snatch 185 to get to the game. So, we should see those things in the open.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe it's gonna get harder. Who knows?
Or they might go the exact opposite way and just use it as their only chance to keep inclusion at competing level, and then the workouts will be like super basic.
Or they
could if they wanted to.
They put a scaled division. Maybe they'll put a pro division.
Yeah, like
Pro
a division that
Scale up.
division that has
You have
qualifiers.
to do this division
Or-
if you want a chance to qualify. That'd be
Or
crazy.
like they really
Yeah, we
start
got a
using the
classic
scale
coach.
division. But okay, thanks for listening to this episode of the NCR podcast.
Of just shooting the shit and
Yeah.
talking about.
All the game changes.
And see you later.
Thanks. Bye.
Thanks, bye.